My name is Virginia George, and I am calling you from AYA out here in Connecticut. Would you mind introducing yourselves and letting us know where you are and where you're from?
So I'm Yago, I'm from Italy, and I'm here in New Mexico.
I'm Greg, I'm the host father, and we're in Alamogordo, New Mexico, which is about 90 miles north of the Mexican border.
Arno, I'm from France, and I'm in Alamogordo, New Mexico right now.
Fantastic. It's so cool to have so many different cultures coming together in the Southwest out there. I wanted to take some time to have you guys share about your experience. I think the experience for exchange students to have a single host parent isn't one that we often hear about. And I think it's just so cool to be able to share that. So I wanted to start off by talking to Greg specifically. I wanted to know, how long have you been hosting exchange students, and how did you get interested in this in the first place?
Okay, well, we started back in 1998 when my son was 7 years old. His two sisters were much older, and they'd gone off to college or graduated from college and were at work. And so we wanted to have someone for Derek to share his life with. Because he was 7 and the exchange student, the first one we got was 17 going on 18, there was an age difference, and Derek didn't actually click real good with the first one, but he clicked later on and became real good friends with a lot of them.
So how did you first get introduced to exchange? Did you meet a local coordinator or hear about it through someone else in your community?
As I remember, there was an ad in the newspaper. It was with a different exchange organization. I think it was with ASSE. And I know they do advertisements. They do some advertisements here in New Mexico as well, and that's how we hooked up with an exchange organization.
Back in the days of print media, right?
Yes. Yes.
As a single host dad, can you share a little bit about what your goals are for continuing to host 2 students at a time and bring them to your community every year?
We started out just getting 1 student, and then my wife passed away when my son was 16. And I had an exchange student that year. The next year, Derek was going to be a senior in high school, and he said he didn't want to have an exchange student. But once he graduated, went off to college, then I started getting 2 students, primarily because they would have someone their own age, to interact with and to share things with. It's not always easy to come into a strange household with just 1 parent. And that be the only child in the house. So it's worked out really well. I've only had 1 or 2 bad experiences. My first double exchange was really bad because these two students would not talk to each other.
That's awkward.
They were on the same soccer team, but for some reason they just never clicked. But after that, it's been really good.
So guys, Arno and Yago, do you think it's an advantage to have another exchange student in the home?
Oh yeah,
For sure,
yeah.
Also, with the pandemic and stuff, that we were kind of locked down, and so school was locked down and everything was closed. Being with someone else, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, we can talk to each other and learn about what he do in his country and what I do in my country, and seeing that it's so cool.
Cool, that's great. Why did you want to come on your exchange in the United States? Why did you choose the US?
Okay, because I wanted to know about the experience of the US, because my sister already done that 4 years ago, and so she told me it was so cool to do that. So I say, why should I not do that? And so I did that, and it's so cool. So I'm happy.
Yeah, for me it was I had seen the US only in the movies and books and stuff, and so it was that country overseas that was kind of that, I don't know, a kingdom kind of, because it was, I don't know, just far from Europe and stuff, and I really want to see what the life was like there. And so I had this opportunity, and I said, yeah, let's go.
And is the United States different? How is it different than your expectations? Because I think it's huge. Definitely not like the movies.
It's just huge. Everything is large. Everything is super big.
Yeah, because we drove from here to the Grand Canyon, and it took 8 hours, and it was always the same, kind of the same road, but it was different every time because there were like trees and sometimes there were desert. It was it's so huge, it's so cool.
And there actually are empty spaces. Like in Italy, it's rare to find like empty spaces.
You guys mentioned the pandemic a little bit already about how, being in lockdown was really a whole thing. Can you share a little bit about who you were able to meet and how your experience has been impacted by the pandemic?
Okay, so I think it was back in September. So the school was closed and we were doing online school. And the only thing that was actually meeting was the cross-country team. And so we said, oh yeah, we should try and just go there and meet people. And we actually met people, and that was like our main way to like get to know people.
Yeah.
So you were still able to participate in a sport. That's great.
Yeah. We found a way. This was the way to meet people and do stuff with people.
Can you tell us a little bit about building your relationship as a family and getting to know each other? Like, what was it like when you first started the program year, and how did you go about like getting to know each other?
Let me start this. What I try and do when I get two students, I give them each other's email address when they're still in their host country, their home country. And I strongly encourage them to get to know each other before they ever get here, so they're not complete strangers when they meet for the first time.
So like I got Arno's email, and then we just like use, I think, Snapchat or Instagram.
Something like that.
And we just like started talking and stuff. And then I came here, I think one week before you, maybe a little bit more.
Week.
So like I had a chance to like tell Arno, oh yeah, I'm here, and how the things were here. So when he came, he kind of already, I was
waiting for it.
You filled him in. So as the three of you together, what are some of your favorite things that you do together? Like, how do you spend your free time when you're not, super busy with sports and school and all that?
Well, one of the things we do is volunteer work, primarily through the church. When they were in lockdown, what we did is every Friday afternoon we'd go to the church, and they'd get cast off vegetables and meats from the various grocery stores in town, and we would sort it. And then on Saturdays we cook a hot meal for the townspeople, and the stuff that we bagged up the day before is out for the people to come and take. So for the first couple months they were here, we had a Friday and Saturday that was pretty much booked.
Yep.
What do you guys think of that volunteering experience?
It's very cool. Like, it's like we know that we help people and do stuff for them. It's very like we feel it like it's very cool. Yeah. And
the people there in church kind of adopt them. I've done that with the kids for a couple of years now, and they always look forward to me getting new students and them getting involved. And they treat them very nice.
That's such a great way to connect with the bigger community, because it makes sense that you are able to build relationships at school and stuff like that, but it's sometimes harder to meet folks just in the general community. Was that a new experience for you guys, volunteering like that?
Yeah. It was new. Yeah.
Were there any other like new experiences that have really stood out as something that really was amazing or that you're really enjoying?
I would say I think like for the first couple of months we played tennis, and I had never played tennis before, and I was pretty interested in like tennis and other kind of stuff, and that was cool.
Yeah, he found out that with my knees I can't cover the whole court. So the way he would beat me is he'd alternate the sides of the court, and that's how he could beat me.
Yeah, that's smart.
You got to play smart, right?
Yeah, and what we did also, we did a lot of trips. So we went to Grand Canyon, we went to Washington State, we went to Washington DC, and we meet Greg's family, and that was a good way to get together and to have fun, and we play games and say it was so cool. Yeah,
that's great. We have in the comment section, somebody just said, Maestro just said he's from El Paso, and hopefully this coming year will be their first year hosting an exchange student, which is a perfect segue into my next question, which is, from each of you, what would you say is one piece of advice you have for either a new host family or a new student coming on program?
So I would say to not have expectations, It's like if you have expectation, then you go there and you like expect to have something. But like if you don't have any expectation, then everything you get is cool and like you enjoy it more.
Yeah, and to don't think too much and to just try to have fun and to find people, and yeah, that's the main point, I think.
Well, for me, my advice would be treat the host exchange students or the exchange students as a member of the family and not as a royal guest. I get the guys involved. If I have an outside job to do or whatever, I pick them up just like I would my own kids. And in fact, some of my previous exchange students write to me and say, "What jobs do you are you doing now with your current exchange students?" And but the other thing I do is within the first couple of days after they get here, I sit down with the parent handbook, and there's a couple of pages there of expectations and whatever. And I sit the guys down and we go over that, so they know from the beginning what the rules are and what their expectations are of me and me of them.
That's great. There's so many good resources out there, but you have to really figure out the best way to use them to your advantage. And Greg, you know, as a very experienced host dad, is there any advice you can share that's helped you guys be so successful this year that's been so different from other exchange years? Like, is there anything in pandemic world that we live in now that you would recommend that folks look into to make the exchange the best it can be?
Well, I try to get them out of the house, you know, into the community as much as possible. I wasn't ever one to be afraid of the pandemic. You know, I wasn't risky, but I wasn't afraid of it. So we didn't sit locked down in the house. Any opportunity we had to get out, we would. Just like the volunteering, and you know, we'd go to the store. Wherever we could take a trip, we'd take a trip. We'd go up to the mountains in Cloudcroft and do some hiking, you know, things like that. So try and get them out of the house as much as you can.
Yeah, I'm finding it's all about being creative and finding ways to stay safe and comfortable in your comfort zone, but still live your life. I think that's a big thing.
Yep.
Is there any other advice or any other highlights that you guys want to share about your experience so far as sort of a way to wrap up our conversation?
I don't know. I would say like for the exchange students, try like not to be too much in touch with like people from your home country, because like if you keep talking with them the whole time, then you're not like exposed to English, like the language.
Yeah.
So like if you want to learn English, then you should, I don't know, call your parents or your friends once a week, but like not more, because so that you have a chance to like be able to speak only in English for the whole week, except for like Sunday or whatever. It's a great way to learn English, I would say.
Yeah, and you have to be ready to take another language too, because like we buy a lot of stuff when we are here, and so we had to buy like another language. Like we did this like last week, and
Luggage at the thrift shop.
Yeah, you have to know that here the language are very like cheap. So we bought one for $8, and for example, I bought mine in France for 180 euros. So the difference is a lot, and so yeah, be ready to take another language and be ready to buy a lot of stuff. Yeah.
No, I agree with Iago about the communication back home. Usually Sundays are the days that they set aside to talk to family and friends. I don't know how much they do during the week, but I've only had one student leave early, and that was a couple of years ago. And he came with a girlfriend, and he got jealous of his girlfriend back home. They were constantly talking. Every spare minute he had, he'd be talking to his girlfriend, and it got so, you know, like I said, he was jealous. And by the middle of December, he was gone. He just couldn't be away from her. So he never really, I mean, we had fun with him, but he never got immersed into the American culture. He had one foot at home and one foot here.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And I think jumping in with both feet into your exchange is such a great challenge and a great way to experience this whole thing. I want to thank you guys for taking some time in your morning. I know it's still pretty early over by you. So thank you for talking with me and sharing about your experience, and good luck next week. I know you have the prom coming up. That's so exciting.
Yep.
So I hope you have just an amazing rest of your experience, and you know, I can't wait to see how it goes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.